Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and hearing the news. All the ice on Earth melted overnight. Coastal cities the weather's going crazy, and the world map as we know it is no longer valid. This isn't a disaster movie scene, but an extreme depiction of what could happen if global warming is left unchecked. About 10% of Earth's landmass is covered by ice, primarily in Antarctica and Greenland. This ice holds enough water to raise sea levels by tens of meters if it all melted. Nearly 90% of land ice is in Antarctica, and most of the rest is in Greenland, while glaciers spread across the world's mountain ranges from the Himalayas to the Alps. This ice is not only a giant freezer, but also a freshwater reservoir for billions of people and a regulator of the global climate. If all the ice on Earth melted, scientists estimate that global sea levels could rise by about 65 to 70 meters. That's enough to submerge nearly every major coastal city. Jakarta, New York, Shanghai, London, and many more. Island nations and low-lying areas would disappear from the map. Even long before all the ice melts, a rise of just about 1 meter this century would be enough to displace millions of people. Ports, coastal airports, and industrial areas will disappear or need to be relocated. Hundreds of millions of people living in coastal areas will lose their homes and livelihoods, creating the largest wave of climate refugees in human history. Ice and snow reflect up to 90% of sunlight back into space. When the ice disappears, the dark ocean surface absorbs more heat, causing the Earth to warm even faster. This creates a vicious cycle. The more ice melts, the faster the Earth warms, which in turn melts even more ice. Melting ice also adds fresh water to the oceans and changes the water's salinity and temperature. This can slow major ocean currents, like the Atlantic Meridional overturning circulation, which helps regulate the global climate. If these major currents weaken, global weather patterns could change drastically. Some regions will experience wetter conditions and flooding, while others will experience prolonged droughts. The end result? Extreme weather is becoming more frequent and intense. Storms are stronger, heat waves are longer, and rainfall patterns are shifting, disrupting agriculture and water availability. The polar ice cap is home to many species: polar bears, seals, penguins, and thousands of tiny organisms beneath the ice. When the ice disappears, they lose their habitat, food sources, and breeding grounds. In the ocean, melting ice and rising temperatures are triggering acidification and bleaching of coral reefs, which are home to about a quarter of marine species. If coral reefs collapse, the marine food chain will also be disrupted, threatening fisheries that are a primary source of protein for hundreds of millions of people. On land, changing rainfall and temperature patterns are forcing species to move to new areas or move to higher elevations to survive. Many fail to adapt quickly enough and risk extinction, reducing global biodiversity. In the polar regions, there is a layer of frozen soil called permafrost that stores enormous amounts of carbon and methane. When it thaws, permafrost releases methane, a greenhouse gas that is much more potent than carbon dioxide at trapping heat. This again creates a vicious cycle. The Earth warms, the permafrost melts, methane is released, and warming accelerates. In extreme scenarios, this could push the climate to a point far warmer than human civilization has ever experienced. The combination of rising sea levels, climate change, and ecosystem damage will directly impact clean water and food. A clean water crisis could emerge when glaciers, which have long served as water reservoirs, disappear. The agricultural sector faces a combination of extreme heat, flooding, and drought that reduces crop yields. Food prices could spike, and economic instability and conflict are increasingly likely. Not all countries will be affected equally. Richer nations have more resources to adapt, while poorer and small island nations are most vulnerable. The good news, the scenario of all the ice melting overnight is unrealistic, but the direction we're headed now remains dangerous if greenhouse gas emissions aren't drastically reduced. To slow the melting of ice, humanity needs to reduce emissions by moving away from fossil fuels, accelerating the adoption of renewable energy, and increasing energy efficiency. Protect and restore ecosystems such as forests and wetlands that absorb carbon. Adapt to changes already underway through coastal protection, water management, and more resilient food systems. The melting of Earth's ice is a major warning sign that our climate system is out of balance. The sooner we act, the greater our chances of securing a livable future, not just for humans, but for all life on this planet.